Hi, this is Mary Nasi with IMT Realty. This week we're going to be focusing on the home buying process timeline. We're going to be taking the timeline from the point of you finding your dream home, entering into a purchase and sales contract, and from there, what the process is and how long the process takes. Typically, the process, if you're financing, is going to be 4 to 6 weeks. If you're paying cash, it could be 2 weeks to no more than typically 30 days. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to be going through the financing timeline. So after you enter into your purchase and sales agreement, you're going to give your realtor an earnest money deposit that you negotiated in your contract. That deposit gets delivered to the listing agent's broker and it's held in escrow until the time of closing, and it will be credited against your down payment or your closing costs. That's how it's handled here in southeastern Connecticut. The listing broker typically puts it in their escrow account. From there, the second thing you're going to do, and this is probably one of the most important things you do to protect yourself and make sure you understand what you're getting into regarding the house, is to schedule your home inspections. This is the best money you're going to spend during this process, because once you buy the house, it's yours. So the home inspection is your opportunity to go through the house with a professional or professionals and review the entire house, the structural, the mechanicals. You want to make sure there's no termite damage or insect damage. You want to test the water, test for radon. If there's septic and septic systems, you want to have the septic system inspected thoroughly. That is a huge expense if it needs to be replaced. You want to have the roof inspected. You want to know if there's any water damage, or if the property has signs that there has been previous water damage. Your home inspections are typically scheduled within 14 days of signing the purchase and sales agreement. Again, that's here in southeastern Connecticut. So if you let that date go without getting an extension, you lose your right to go back to them and renegotiate the terms of the contract. So that inspection date that's in your contract is very important to follow. And typically it's within 14 days of a fully executed contract. From there, after the inspection is finished, you'll negotiate, you'll review the home inspection report with your realtor and your home inspector and decide if there are any items that you want mitigated by the sellers, or if there is some sort of credit in lieu of making any repairs. From there, well, it's not from there, but in addition, during this process, the lender is going to order your appraisal. And again, that date here in southeastern Connecticut is typically done within 20 days of entering into the purchase and sales agreement. So you'll pay your lender for the appraisal fee. Sometimes they roll that into your closing costs, so it can all be lumped together at the closing table. But the lender will schedule or hire the appraiser. It's through a round robin system. They don't handpick the appraisers anymore. And the appraiser will contact the listing agent and schedule your appraisal. And once the appraisal comes back in and gets through underwriting, the lender typically notifies you of the findings. If for any reason the house does not appraise at or above the purchase price in your contract, that gives you the opportunity to go back and renegotiate with the seller. The third thing you're going to do is monitor your mortgage commitment date. So there's a date in the contract that's going to state that you will get your mortgage commitment by blank date. Typically that date I put in about 4 weeks from the execution date of the contract. So that's the date in the contract that you have until to get your commitment, meaning that the lender has given you a commitment that they're going to lend you the money. That's a really important date because you are able to get your deposit back, at least in southeastern Connecticut, for multiple reasons under the contract. The two big ones are your inspections. After your inspections, if the house is not in the condition you thought it was, you can request your deposit back and cancel the contract. If on or before the mortgage commitment date, you are not able to obtain a mortgage commitment, you're able to cancel the contract and request your deposit back. After that commitment date, If you have not gotten mortgage commitment, your deposit is at risk. So it's important to monitor those dates. If for some reason you need additional time because your lender needed additional information, or there was something came up in the process, make sure you request an extension to that date so you're protecting your deposit. And then closing will typically take place within 10 days of mortgage commitment. Sometimes it's 3, it depends on how they file. They send you the disclosures, whether it's electronically or snail mail. So that is your 5-week to 6-week process right there, or 4 weeks to 6-week process. So it's getting your earnest money deposit in, inspections, appraisals, monitoring your mortgage commitment, and then scheduling the closing, and hopefully everything goes well. One more thing, right before closing, I highly suggest you do a walkthrough. You could do one, right after any inspections are mitigated and the seller does the repairs that are requested. And then I would highly recommend doing one the day of closing, right before closing, just to make sure that no pipes broke the night before, that there was no holes in the walls, or that after the sellers moved out. You just want to make sure it's in the condition you purchased it in on the execution date of your contract. Because once you purchase the house and you go to closing, the house is yours. So that's it, and happy hunting. And if you want to share or like this video, please click below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.